Have you ever deleted a photo that was actually perfectly fine? Not blurry, not embarrassing, just 3 likes? You told yourself it wasn't a big deal, but something inside you decided this version of me isn't good enough. Well, that feeling has a much older, much darker past.
May 7th, 1931. 150 police officers surround a Manhattan apartment. Machine guns are mounted on the rooftops. Inside, a killer named Two Gun Crowley is bleeding, trapped, out of options. And in the middle of the gunfire, he stops to write a letter. Not a confession, not a goodbye. He writes that underneath his coat is a weak heart, but a kind one. A heart that would never hurt anyone. He had just executed a police officer at point-blank range. Somewhere tonight, someone is doing a smaller version of the exact same thing. A photo posted an hour ago, 3 likes, gone. That's not a coincidence. It's the same instinct, wearing a different coat. Because underneath almost everything a person does, the argument you refuse to lose, the text you rewrite 4 times before sending, the story you tell about your promotion, one question runs quietly in the background. Not, am I successful? Not, am I liked? Something smaller and much harder to admit. Do I matter? Watch for it, and you start seeing it everywhere. The friend who repeats their point a little louder when no one reacts. The coworker who needs the last word in every email thread. The version of you that opens the app one more time just to check. None of that makes you a bad person. It makes you a person. You didn't invent this feeling. Freud spent his life studying it. So did Dewey. So did William James, who came closest to naming it right. Not a wish, not a want, a craving. The kind that doesn't disappear just because it's ignored. And once you know it has a name, you start noticing where it splits. 2 men, same hunger, opposite outlets. One was John D. Rockefeller, the richest man alive, who gave away millions to build a hospital for strangers he'd never met. The other was John Dillinger, the most wanted man in America, who once ran into a farmhouse full of terrified strangers and before anything else, shouted his own name, proud, in that instant, to finally be somebody. Same fuel, different fire. That fork doesn't only happen in headlines, it happens at your kitchen table. It's the moment in the group chat when you could have let someone else be right and didn't. The moment you got the last word, but felt it cost you something you couldn't name. Small, ordinary versions of the same choice, dozens of times a day, build someone up or make yourself feel just a little bigger. Most of those moments pass without you ever noticing them. But here's where the question gets even smaller, and somehow heavier. A young woman worked in a French household a century ago. They called her Marie the dishwasher. Cross-eyed, overworked, barely spoken to, invisible, even to the people she served every day. One afternoon, while setting down a plate, a guest looked at her and said something no one ever had. "Marie, you don't know what treasures are within you." She didn't answer. She wasn't used to being seen. She almost didn't trust it. She carried the plate back to the kitchen and repeated the sentence to herself. Quietly, like something she was afraid she might lose. Something shifted. She began taking care of herself, her face, her posture, the way she carried herself through the day. 2 months later, she announced she was getting married. "I'm going to be a lady." One sentence didn't give her something new. It gave her permission to believe something that had been true all along. That's the part we're sitting with. Not the killer, not the headline. The quiet fact that every day you hand out sentences like that one. And so does everyone around you. Mostly without noticing. Mostly by accident. Mostly to people carrying the same question Marie never said out loud. You'll close this in a moment and go back to your day. And sometime in the next few hours, without meaning to, you'll answer that question for someone else. Maybe with a glance, maybe with a sentence, maybe with your silence. You've been doing it for your whole life. The only difference now is that you'll notice.